case you haven't cottoned on to Wyclef's fat rhymes, this week I want to talk about the good stuff. Money. However, since this is part of my The Human Race is series, I apologize in advance about how this piece is not about how to suddenly strike it rich, or the intrinsic complications of building a Scrooge McDuck money vault that you can swim in. Rather, it is about the importance of financial literacy, but not just for adults. Now, hopefully some of you listened to my last video and got your kids vaccinated. But now that you have saved them from the nutso-conspiracists, the question now is, have you armed them enough tools for the future? It's funny, isn't it? We teach our kids how to make their beds, brush their teeth, to not take candy from strangers, but we don't really teach them how to balance budgets, how to invest, or how to manage debt, or at least in any way that seems to really stick into adulthood. In fact, according to the Malaysian Financial Planning Council, it was poor financial management that resulted in over 22,000 Malaysians under the age of 35 being declared bankrupt between 2011 and September 2015. Alright, before I get lynched, yes, it would not be fair to blame all of this on poor parenting. Higher costs of living and asinine societal pressure to keep up with the Joneses all play their part. Even with those caveats though, let's be honest. With kids, it is always a case of monkey see, monkey do. So yes, if you are in the habit of flinging feces at the wall, don't be surprised if your child eventually does the same. Or in another example, if you see your government parental figure consistently tabling supplementary budgets year after year, wouldn't that give the impression that it was a normal thing to do? And it would make it hard to swallow when politicians ask of the people to be frugal in their spending and yet, metaphorically, consistently fling poo at the walls. In the latest round, last week the government tabled for an additional allocation of 3.08 billion for 2016, on top of the 267.2 billion already earmarked in Budget 2016. And of course, this is hardly a new thing. The country has seen 2 supplementary budgets every year since 2009. The largest amount was back in 2012, where it was an eye-watering 25.97 billion. It can't help but raise the question about what exactly is blowing budgets each time. Is it factors that can be controlled, such as inadequate planning? Or is it stuff that can't be controlled, such as a proverbial orange swan or racist British? However, credit when credit is due, the amount of these supplementary budgets have been on the decline since 2012. This year's amount of some 3 billion is just around half of what was asked for in the year before. And this curb on excess spending couldn't come at a more critical time, as debt levels across the country continue to creep up. Whether it be household debt, corporate debt, or government debt, the country's total external debt grew to 908.7 billion in 2016, from 833.8 billion in 2015. Although, at the moment, there is apparently no reason to panic. Managing debt, any kind of debt, is something that needs to be learned. Yes, it can be argued that there is good debt and bad debt, but where does that line lie and how fine is it? Most will agree though, if you don't keep to a budget and spending goes unchecked, eventually all of it will just become bad debt. After all, nobody is born with a natural talent for managing borrowed money. Hardly a category that would get you noticed on Asia's Got Talent. But I clearly have digressed. Where was I again? Yeah. Teaching your kids financial literacy. The simple, if disheartening fact is this. Not all of us do enough to teach financial literacy to the future generation when the current generation is still struggling with it themselves. And it's hard to keep on message when the world around you doesn't seem to care to do the same. So if the key word in all of this is consistency, if parental figures, no matter what shape or form, continue to spend responsibly, the kids would naturally do the same. And hey, thinking about it, wouldn't that just be a great rule to keep to in general? If just to keep the walls clean. Just saying.